Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Sean here from Voice from the Dirt Road. Glad to see you. As y'all guys can see, we got brand new music. Let us know if you like our music. And as you can see, we focus in on our stool, but we focus in on that one thing that hadn't got done yet by Congress, and that's the Farm Bill. So today, just want to kind of this show today is going to be one where we talk about a lot of different things that are happening outside of Georgia, but also in Georgia, and then it's going to get all the way right down to my farm itself, so that we can let you see as our viewer what are farmers dealing with across the board. But before I even get into that, I want to let you know, I know my shirt is nice and pressed. I just got out of my what I consider my other job is on News Nation and other networks. I get an opportunity to come on, and as a retired brigadier general, I get a chance to come on and talk about what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on with the war, and give my professional opinion on what's going to happen next, my analysis. So we just finished that at roughly the 6:15 hour, and then we had to get ready for this show. So I didn't have a chance to go back and change my shirt and prepare for the farm day. So forgive me for that, but busy time right now. And from there, let's just jump right into it. Let me just talk about our stool just one more time, so for our new audience, they understand where we try to focus. Our stool focus on three different areas or four different areas. One is livestock. Livestock is the leg that I'm part of, because I raise cattle, but livestock could pretty much be any type animal out there that'll make any difference. Then in addition to that is row crop. Row crop, as y'all guys know, we've been talking about for a while. Our row crop brothers and sisters are struggling right now because of the drought and other things that are currently going on. And then on top of that, forestry. As you also know, forestry now is struggling because they're moving a lot of the forestry leadership, or making the decision to move a lot of the forestry leadership out to Salt Lake. Right now, the question is how many of those individuals are actually going to move, or are we going to put ourselves in a deficit because leadership decides to stay where they're at because their kids are in school, husband or wife has a different job, and they just don't move. And then on top of that, as y'all guys know, here in Georgia, we are dealing with a major fire that's going on. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the show. And then that back leg back there is the USDA, and the USDA helps us support everything across the board. A lot of moving parts going on in the USDA right now. If I was giving them a grade, I would probably give them a grade of about a C. We got to wait and see how some things are going to play out. But right now, I would give them a C. But I'll talk more about that. And then ultimately, I already mentioned the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill is still based off 2018 prices. Right now, our farmers going through a lot of disasters, and we'll speak more about that. And the question is, are they going to have enough money to get back on their feet after we go through these fires, after we go through these drought and all these kind of things? So just want to bring you up to speed on that. So now let's kind of move into what is currently going on in the world of agriculture at the highest level. And the very first video I want to show you today, and we will have some videos, but I promise you, I will also be talking during the show, and I want to encourage you to send us some questions on the particular topics. So with that, let's jump right into it. The very first video is going to give us an idea of where we sit right now with USDA.
At the House Appropriations Committee raised concerns this week about the proposed USDA staffing cuts in the president's upcoming budget, warning they could disrupt services that farmers rely on. Critics say these reductions, including potential cuts to the FSA offices, the NRCS offices, could lead to longer wait times, fewer resources, and delays in accessing key programs. Again, Secretary Rollins out on the front says efforts like the One Farmer, One File initiative, which she talked a lot about at Commodity Classic this year, are improving efficiency, but more than 500 producers are urging Congress to maintain staffing at current funding levels. They warn that deeper cuts could weaken conservation programs and limit support time at a time when farmers are already facing high costs, volatile markets, and weather challenges.
Yeah, you know, many of our farmers are a little bit older. We have talked about on this show that we want to try to get more young people into our farming industry. But the reality of it is most are older. Some may have access to a computer or not, or if they do, they're not that comfortable on it. So that is why you're hearing from farmers saying back to DC, hey, before you move all these people and go to this new program, please make sure that you still leave people in our offices inside of our counties so that if you need help, you can actually go and get help. I will tell you, as a farmer right here in Northwest Georgia, several of our different offices in the region or in our area, they're still open. But the people that were there have been moved on, or those people have said, you know what, thank you, I'm going to go and retire, and have not been replaced. So I feel this as a farmer for myself is now if I would drive to Rome, Georgia to go to our FSA office, some of the people that I've been working with for years are not there anymore. And I have to go all the way to Cummins, Georgia. Cummins, Georgia is a long ways from Northwest Georgia. And so I'm being forced to go into this new program, or I'm being forced to get on the phone and try to talk through things when for years, myself and many other farmers would just go right there to Calhoun, Georgia, and actually, or Gordon County, and just talk directly to our FSA office and work through our issues when it came to trying to get financing for something. But again, things are changing. Hopefully they're going to change for the better. And hopefully our farmers, somebody's listening to us to say, hey, change. I don't have a problem with change. I just want to make sure that we change in a way that we don't leave farmers behind right now in some of our greatest needs, because a lot of things are happening out there that the farmers can't control. And one of those other areas that they can't control is the drought. So let's see what's going on with the drought, and then I'll come back and kind of bring you up to speed on how the drought is affecting me and affecting other farmers here throughout Georgia and really throughout the United States.
In Morgan County, farmer Lee Nunn starts every day the same way. He checks the ground, then he checks the sky, because the dirt under his boots is drying out fast.
And that's almost like a brick. I mean, that's just hard Georgia red clay, and it is super dry.
And that hard clay doesn't just sit there, it eats up his equipment and cash.
It's almost like running a big piece of sandpaper over it. It's so dry.
Nunn's not alone. The latest U.S. drought monitor shows 98% of Georgia sits in drought right now. Half of the state falls in extreme drought, while nearly 1 in 5 sits in exceptional drought, the worst category. And you can see it, lake levels dropping, rivers thinning out, and fire danger climbing. This hits at the worst time. It's planting season. Cotton, peanuts, wheat. The seed needs moisture. Fertilizer needs moisture. Without water, every pass across a field turns into a gamble.
Less weight, that means less yield, that means less money.
Margins are already thin. Diesel and fertilizer prices are going up. There are alternatives, but they cost money.
This is a cornfield, and the corn is about 3 weeks old.
In Oglethorpe, farmer Donald Chase shows us a field. Corn still small, but already thirsty. Water irrigation helps, but drives the cost up.
If you see pivots running, understand that is raising the cost of producing that crop.
For Nunn, he's putting extra money in the offering plate and saying prayers, hoping it rains soon or the drought starts calling the shots for the rest of the season.
If you're a farmer, I mean, you're the biggest gambler there is. When you place a seed in the ground and hope, 6 months later that everything goes well.
He's exactly right. Being in the farming business is a big time gamble. It's a lot of things you can't control, and I'll talk a little bit about that here a little later. But the reality of it is throughout the United States, but specifically here in Georgia, we are dealing with a drought. Many farmers hadn't even had an opportunity to get crops in the ground because the ground is just that dry and just that hard. Because if you go out there, it can actually tear your equipment up. So the concern that I have is, are we going to get the crops in the ground? If we get them in the ground, are we going to be able to sell them somewhere? And in addition to that, just this week, and then you can see it no matter where you're at in the United States, or really no matter where you're at in the world, is Georgia right now, because it's so dry. North Florida, southern Georgia, and look like it's moving further up, because even in Northwest Georgia, we're dealing with the smoke from these forest fires that we have. So because of the drought that we're in, farmers cannot get their crops in the field, or they got them in the field and they're not sure is it even going to germinate. But on top of that, now in the southern part of our state of Georgia, we're dealing with drought. And what I will tell you, we are praying right now for rain on Saturday. And we're going to see. But on top of that, we're praying for rain, so that if that rain can come through Northwest Georgia and then all the way down southern Georgia, it could help get control of these forest fires that we actually got going on. Because right now, many of the fires are not even contained at all, less than 10 to 15%. So with that, let's get a quick little update on the forest fires, and then we'll get into what's happening overseas and how is it affecting our farmers.
Right now, this wildfire emergency across the southeast, Florida and Georgia. Nearly 90 homes burned to the ground now. Firefighters battling from the ground and in the air tonight. Authorities say dozens of new fires breaking out in just the last 24 hours. Morgan Norwood from the fire zone tonight.
Tonight, new evacuation orders in Georgia and more homes lost as hundreds of firefighters battle multiple wildfires.
We currently have 87 living spaces that have been destroyed. If this fire doesn't shift, we could have more than that before dark tonight.
Authorities say in the past 24 hours, at least 34 new fires have broken out across the state. The two largest, the 5,000-acre Highway 82 fire outside Savannah in Brantley County, and the nearly 30,000-acre Pineland Road fire south of there, are both still out of control. Our Matt Rivers behind the fire lines.
The fire here in Brantley County exploded incredibly quickly. You can see there's still hot spots back there. This is what's left of a mobile home completely destroyed by this fire. Dozens of people forced to flee with nothing to come back to.
My house is gone.
The loss for so many here, overwhelming.
Oh my God.
Caitlin Strait gasping at the destruction of her family's home.
Look at my stove.
Hers, one of more than 50 homes that county officials say have been lost so far. In Atkinson, Georgia, we met Craig Jacobs and his 6-year-old daughter, Cora, putting out hotspots in their own backyard. Their home was spared.
It's very heartbreaking to see our neighbors going through what they're going through, but we're out here doing what we can do, pulling together as a community.
Jacobs is also a firefighter. Many here battling the fires while worrying about their own homes.
And David, officials here in Brantley County calling this a dynamic fire with conditions changing by the minute. The concern now is that they may have to call in FEMA for additional resources. David?
Morgan Norwood in the fire zone tonight for us. Morgan, thank you. Let's get right to our senior meteorologist, Lee Gold.
Yeah, as you can see, and I know many of you live in that part of the state. That's originally where I'm from. It is bad right now. My understanding, they're bringing in additional equipment, which is great. If I'm not mistaken, the National Guard potentially may also be involved in this. But when it comes from an agriculture point of view, you notice they talked about bringing in FEMA. FEMA will come in and try to help people get back on their feet when it comes to their house and all those kind of things. But when it comes to agriculture, then it comes back to the USDA and that farm bill. And the reason why we need the farm bill is because many of these areas that are being burned are actually in the rural community. That means many farms have actually been completely destroyed. Crops have been destroyed, all of those things. And now how do you get back on your feet? That's not FEMA. That is USDA, and that is the farm bill. So all these things are actually tying back into what is affecting our farmers right now. And part of this show today is trying to frame out, these are all the pressures that are on our farmers. And With that being said, we still got one more major pressure that's actually on us out there. We already know that the tariffs are still an issue. I mean, we're not even going to talk about that really, but we do know the tariffs are still an issue. So when you plant your crop, if you get it to come up, if you get it to do all the things it needs to do, the question is, where are we going to sell it a year from now? That's a whole different conversation. We'll figure that out. But in addition to that, like I mentioned earlier in the show, the reason why I still got on my nice shirt is because I just came off of News Nation, where I was talking about what's currently going on in the Middle East with the Strait of Hormuz and all those kind of things. So with that, I just want to show one more video, and then I promise we'll get it to my particular farm, and you can ask me all the questions you want to. But I want to make sure that you clearly understand that all of these things that we're talking about, from the weather to the drought to forest fires to now the war that's going on in the Middle East, all of these things are putting unbelievable pressure on the agriculture community. And that's why it's so important that we make sure that the USDA and other organizations are laser focused on helping our farmers today. So with that, let's take a quick little look at what's happening overseas currently. And at 8 o'clock today, after this show is over, I encourage you to go and watch the news, because the Secretary of War will be giving an update on what's currently going on over in the Middle East. But let's show the video, what we can show this morning, please.
Ceasefire with Iran has been extended until a permanent end to the conflict is reached. That's according to President Donald Trump.
Yeah, the president says it's until Tehran submits a proposal for a permanent end to the conflict. The ceasefire had been slated to end this evening. A U.S. delegation led by Vice President J.D. Vance and other top U.S. officials was expected to travel to Pakistan. Meantime, one expert worries if negotiations between the U.S. and Iran collapse, the Israel-Lebanon ceasefire could also be at risk.
The Lebanon ceasefire and the Iran ceasefire run separate but parallel. Certainly, the lack of progress on one will impede progress on the other.
The U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports will continue, according to President Trump. Iran's foreign minister says they consider that an act of war, and they say that it violates the ceasefire.
Well, like I mentioned this morning, I was just on News Nation talking about what was going on in the Middle East. I guess you could say I'm a Middle East expert, if anybody can say that. I would say if somebody tell you they're a Middle East expert, you tell them, no, you're not, because the Middle East has been a dangerous place for a long time, and it's going to continue to be a very dangerous place. But what I can do is say this. My last assignment was Israel as defense official there. But on top of that, I do have many years of experience in the Middle East. And from that experience, I can tell you this for a fact. One, that what's currently happening in the Middle East right now with this conflict we have with Iran will have great effect on our farmers. And our farmers are being affected in actually 3 different ways, or actually 4 different ways. One, and these are things that the farmers can't control. And this is why we kind of went through these different areas this morning, so that everybody have a better idea. The farmer on the ground, no matter if they're in California or if they're all the way here in Georgia with us, these are things that we can't control. But right now is putting us in the hurt locker. One is weather. As y'all guys know, we already kind of talked about it. We're in the middle of a drought. On top of that, we have forest fires that are currently happening here in Georgia, out west, out in Oklahoma. As of last night, early this morning, they are dealing with tornadoes. So the weather is definitely a player when it comes to the world of farming. That hadn't changed in many years, and it's not going to change anytime soon. Then on top of that, because of the fight that we're in Iran, with the Strait of Hormuz being closed, input costs are now out the roof. And that input cost comes to diesel, gas, plus in addition to that, fertilizer and any other input that you have that's actually out there touching the farmer. And there's no way for the farmer to get around it. You either put down the fertilizer or you run the risk that your crop is not going to come up. And then the third piece is the war itself, the conflict itself. Right now, as we just listened to, we are in that spot where we're in the middle of a ceasefire. A ceasefire is good. However, we don't know when is this ceasefire going to be over or when this war is going to be completely over. With that being said, that continuously put pressure on the farmer because the cost of gas and diesel and fertilizer are going to continue to go up because nothing is going through the Strait of Hormuz. With that being said, the farmers are going to be put in a very bad situation when it comes to that cost of those inputs. And I'm not 100% sure that when we look at the will of the people or the most strategic piece of this war, when it comes back into the United States, we always talk about the will of the people. What I would tell you, I think it's not only the will of the people, but I think it's going to go right down to the will of our farmers. How much pressure can our farmers take before they start pushing back and saying, okay, we got to do something differently? Because right now, with all of these things that are going on, is many of our farmers are starting to have to file for bankruptcy. We talked a little bit about that last week. And then the last piece, that if you get your crops in the ground, and you will get your crops in the ground, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but you get them in the ground. The question is, because we still have the tariffs going on, will you have an opportunity to sell them somewhere and make a profit? So these are all the things that are affecting our farmers. And when I say affecting our farmers, it's actually affecting me also, because when I'm not doing this, talking to you, I'm actually on my farm for myself, not paying somebody to do it. I actually do it. I am the farmer. I raise cattle for a living, proud to do it, proud to be able to get out of the military and go through a program where it goes from boots to being a farmer, or which I think is an awesome program. With that being said, let us transition a little bit. Let me look and see, do I have any questions? Just real quick. Give me 1 second. No, everybody seems like they're just saying hi, Sean. Good morning. Good morning to every last one of you. Look forward to seeing you out there somewhere. And thank you for all your support. Now let's talk a little bit about what has occurred on my farm. And when I say my farm, this could be put to anybody's farm, but we're going to talk from a livestock point of view. In the last 2 weeks, just like every other farmer out there, I've been dealing with weather, specifically drought. Like I said, we're praying for rain. We're hoping to get some rain tomorrow. But roughly 2 weeks ago, I actually went and purchased fertilizer for my farm. I still got it sitting here on my desk because it was that expensive. I'm still looking at it. And when I say went and purchased the fertilizer, right now with everything that's going on overseas, normally you could buy your fertilizer and pay for it maybe 3, 4, 5 months down the road as you get your returns on whatever you're trying to grow. Now, because fertilizer is so high, if you don't buy it that day, the next day that you come, or 2 weeks when you come, it could be even higher. So this is a cost that farmers are having to actually spend right now. So 2 weeks ago, I bought this fertilizer and put it out, and we're going to show you some of that because I want you to see behind the scenes. But on top of that, since the day that I put it out, we have had absolutely no rain. And until it rains on my pastures and on this fertilizer, it will not actually affect the ground at all. So that's why I say we're praying for rain tomorrow. And we praying for that rain not only to help us with our pastures, but we actually praying for that rain to try to help put out some of the forest fires that are actually happening down south. In addition to that, I believe that if we don't get rain here soon, some of my fellow cattlemen, including myself, if the grass stops growing and we don't have any grass for the cows and don't have any hay, we're going to have to start trying to sell some of our herd off. And that in itself, like we already talked about in past episodes, that our cattle herd is the smallest it's been in 75 years. And that's not going to help us to grow the herd. So with that, let me take you through the day of a farmer. Just so happened it was me, but let me take you through how do you go and get the fertilizer? Where do you go and get the fertilizer from a co-op? But then how do you put it out? And we'll show you all these different things. I'll talk through some of it, and then on the back end, at the end of the day, my goal is just for you as a fellow farmer to see how we do it, but at the same time, as somebody who's living in a city that have never seen this before, to just give you a glimpse of what happens behind the scenes. And this was roughly about 2 weeks ago here on my farm. But like I said, we have got no rain at this point. So can we play the first video? The first video is me picking up the fertilizer and all of that kind of stuff.
It goes in this little buggy. And I'll take it home and spray out to the pasture. That's the blend that has been put together specifically for my farm based on my soil sample. When I get enough, I'll take it today and put it out.
Okay, I just got here to the house, got the buggy hooked up to the tractor. This right here is the level that when we actually engage it, you'll see that I'll disconnect that, make it engage in this tire back here. And then back here on the back, what I'm gonna do first, see that little, I'm not sure if you can see that little mark right there. That is what the guy at the co-op told me, based on my pH, based on what I'm putting out, that's what I need to lift this right to. So I'm gonna do that first. And that's gonna be the amount that's gonna be let out as we're driving around. This video is, you know, us on the hill that live on the farm, we know this, but I also want to do it for our brothers and sisters that live in the city. I'll get up here and let you see what we have over in there. Okay, you can see it's granule, so we don't have to be worried about if it's gonna mess with the cows or anything. They got to stay off it. No, I can spread this out here and the cows will still be able to eat. Grass won't have no effect on them. This is actually just gonna go here on the grass, gonna hit all the pastures here. And then because we're in the middle of drought, it's probably not gonna see anything until it starts raining, but when it starts raining, the grass will jump off. And again, this fertilizer here, and I'll show you the paperwork, is based on my pH for my soil, which is, I think it was about 6.2, now 6.3. So we're getting better. When I first bought this place, we was in the 4s. We were bad. So enough talking, time to go to work. All right, as you can see there, when you go to the co-op, a couple things happen so you just understand it. First, you go, you purchase first you need to take your soil test. They look at your soil test, and from that, they figure out what type fertilizer, what do you need to have inside of your mixture that works best with your soil. From that, then you actually get a thing that we call a buggy. A buggy is where you can go down there, pick it up yourself, bring it to your farm, put it out yourself. Or you could pay extra and have a truck bring it to your farm and put it out. But that could cost you another $500 on top of the fertilizer itself. So I always opt to do two things. One, if I go with normal fertilizer like I did this year, then that is actually me going to get the buggy and I put it out myself. Or then if you go with the chicken manure guy come over and put it out with his truck. But in this year, we decided to go with the normal fertilizer. And as you saw, we picked it up. They filled up the buggy. Where you saw it sitting on that thing, that's the scale. That's the scale that says how much you actually got on the buggy. And that is how they come up with the price that you're going to be able to pay. I know you can't see it on the screen, but what I would tell you, it hurt. I'll just say that it hurt. That check hurt to write it. But then you get it to your house, you engage it, and then you start putting it out in the pasture. One of the things I just want to make sure everybody clearly understands that when you put this type fertilizer out, your animals can stay out there on it. It will have no effect on them. And because they're not going to eat it, it's actually falling on the ground and getting up under the grass level. But it will sit there. It won't do anything until it gets wet. So like I said earlier, this is probably about 2 weeks ago. We hadn't had any rain here on my farm. So we hoping and praying that we're going to get some rain tomorrow. And then from there, I'll be able to show you the final results. But as of right now, since the day that I put it out there, no rain. So I'm just like all the rest of the farmers. I'm hurting and saying, hey, hopefully we can get some rain and get some things out. I think I got one more video to show you how we put it out, and then from there we'll start closing the show out. But I wanted to just let you see behind the scenes that I'm not just a guy that sits here in the house and talk about farming. We actually do it. Get the foot out. Turn the camera around and you see behind me there. You're close to see where it's out there on the ground. It's going about 35 feet out both ways. We'll be finishing this pasture here real quick. Maybe one more turn, and then we'll go over there where the cows at. After that, we still got 7 more pastures to go. Y'all guys have a good day, so I can keep this thing on the focus here. It's a little bumpy. You know, after doing 40 years in the military, I tell you, my back hurts. And getting to that tractor, only going less than 5 miles per hour, you can see the amount of bouncing that you're doing. So I couldn't hold that camera too long and try to drive and stop hitting the bump. So, but we put it all out. Everything went well. Took the buggy back, turned it back in, had to turn it in the afternoon because another farmer needed it. That's the beauty of being part of a co-op. All the farmers are working together, and then from there, we all get better. So we got it put out. Everything went great. The only thing we're still waiting on right now, and like I said again, hopefully we get some rain tomorrow, because until we get some rain, all of that money that I just spent on this fertilizer, nothing's actually happening until it gets wet. So tomorrow, I know there's plenty of farmers, at least here in Georgia and maybe really around the country, but specifically here in Georgia, we want rain to help us make sure that our crops can grow, but we also want rain to make sure that we can help put out the forest fires. And I'll just say it this way. I'll rather not have rain up here with me in Northwest Georgia if that rain goes down to Southern Georgia and help those guys put the fires out, because I don't want to see anybody losing their houses or livelihood or even their lives. So if the rain skip us and go down to there, that's just fine. The good Lord always answer prayers. But like I mentioned, one of the things I wanted to mention is one, farmers are under unbelievable pressure right now from, like I said earlier, many of things that they cannot control. The weather, input costs, the global war, tariffs, you name it. We're equally under the pressure cooker. With that being said, like in every show, I'm trying to see here, says Sean something. Let me go and see if somebody got a question. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Open chat. Okay, I did open the chat. I see where everybody's saying hello, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Shelly, I don't see the question, if it's a question. Am I missing it? Says, oh, how can you educate the question is how can you educate the community on the farm bill? Yes, now I said it. Thank you very much, Shelly. Thank you. The way that I can educate the community or the public on the farm bill, what I will do in next week's show, I would do a full show where we talk 100% about the farm bill. How we came about with the farm bill is based on 2018 right now. And then on top of that, what is actually happening in Congress in this current Congress is going on that took little small pieces of it and put it into the big, beautiful bill. But it is still a lot that has been missed. And I think it was just yesterday, many agriculture organizations wrote a letter to Congress saying, please get the farm bill done. So what I will promise you for next week, we will build a whole entire show around the farm bill. What does it mean? Where it is currently in Congress, and then how does it affect our farmers? And then ultimately, how does that affect you as the consumer? So I'll put that all together and we'll do a whole show on it. So thank you for that particular question. Because I know it feels like I've been going on for a while this morning. Maybe I have, maybe I hadn't, because in order to be on Newsmax this morning, I had to get up at 5:30 for a 6 o'clock hit. So I'm not sure if I've been on for 10 minutes or 30 minutes with you, but at the end of the day, I wanted to just let you see behind the scenes what is currently happening on the farm. And I also wanted you to know that when you see Sean Harris sitting here talking to you on this station or whatever, I'm just not a guy who is just talking about farming. I actually go outside and do it. And I think that's important for credibility to be able to do it, for people to see you doing it, and on top of all those things. And in addition to the putting out the fertilizer, we have started our AI process, that's artificial simulation. So we are right now inside of a 10-day window. And on May 2nd, we'll film some of this, but on May 2nd will be the day that we get our cows pregnant, or hopefully we get them pregnant. And then on that same afternoon, we'll bring in a cleanup bull. So we'll film some of those things for you, so you get a chance to see behind the curtains what is actually happening on a modern day farm, cattle farm, and we'll kind of go from there. But like I was saying earlier, farmers are under unbelievable pressure. Farmers right now, with everything that's going on, from the drought to the war to the weather, you name it, farmers are feeling the pressure, and some are actually going into bankruptcy. And nobody wants that. I will also tell you that a lot of farmland is coming up for sale. And I will tell you, based on some of the things that the USDA is doing and moving people around, it's going to be very hard for farmers, other farmers, to get financed to be able to buy that farmland. And I am concerned that that farmland is going to be bought up by contractors. And the next thing you know, they're going to be building beautiful neighborhoods. But at the end of the day, that farmland is going to be gone. So we'll talk more about that. But with this being said, farmers are under unbelievable pressure. And like I end every show every week, I want to make sure that if you're a farmer and you're under unbelievable pressure, I want to make sure that you know to call this number. And the number that you need to call is, Shelly, can you bring up the number for there we are. I want to make sure that you know that we care about you. Want you to know that we want to help you. I want you to know that our focus is the farmer, because at the end of the day, if our farms collapse, if our farms go away, if our farmers go away, our entire society will stop existing like we have it today. So here's the number, called 988. If you are struggling today, somebody will talk to you, and the goal is to just get you to the next day, because the sun will come up and it'll look better the next day. Reason why we talk about this, because in our rural communities, we have very few mental health facilities. So this is the number here that you can call, or a family member may have to call for another family member to get them some help, because the worst thing you could do is make a short-term decision for a long-term issue. So we just want to try to get you to the next day. So with that, I know it's been kind of long show, at least it feels like it's been long. I can't really tell. Yes, it says I've been talking, only for 38 minutes. I guess because I did the Newsmax, and then I came into this one, it feels like I've been talking a lot longer, but hopefully I didn't speed through it too fast. Hopefully you get a better understanding of what's going on in the world when it comes to agriculture, and hopefully you get a better understanding of what's happening on farms across. But I will ask you this as I get ready to close out: please keep our farmers in your prayers. Please keep excuse me, the people that are dealing with the tornadoes out west today. Please keep the people that are dealing with the forest fires down in South Georgia and North Florida in your prayers. And as they go through this, on the backside, we will do everything we can to help them get back on top of their feet. So with that, hey guys, my cup is empty. As you can see, thank you for everything, and we'll see you next week. Have a great week. God bless.